Hey, loves. Happy New Year, brand new year, blessings. Um, it's great to be in a new year and great to be able to think of some awesome things to experience this year. Knowing that we don't have to do repeats, we can always do something different. So, change is great. Change brings about new things and new awareness and new hope and all that. So, um, in the same vein of new, a lot of times we start a new year and it's kind of like you can see something get triggered and kind of think, oh well, it's going to possibly look like the previous year, possibly look like a year you didn't really care for. I had that discussion actually today with um, with a coworker of mine, and it was, I seen this before, it wasn't that great, and I was like, no, well, here's the silver lining. There's new people involved and they have great ideas, and we can take those ideas and make it something different. So it doesn't have to be the same. It may look the same, but it doesn't have to be, because we can make different choices. So I want to read you something that has been posted in a blog, and it actually is old, but it can is gets dust off and be renewed. So let me go ahead and read that. New eyes. Eyes have not seen nor have ears heard. We can never fully comprehend the things around us. I mean, we think we know things, but we don't fully know everything. And those that say they know everything, you might want to watch out for. How many times in our lives have we caused things to happen that we turn around and blame God for? You know, we make decisions left and right, and sometimes when it doesn't pan out the way we wanted to, the expectation that we've had, and I think we've had this discussion before, expectations, instead of taking accountability, that we may have jumped too high, or some things are supposed to turn out the way it is, that there tends to be a blame game. We might blame another person, but if it really is painful, we tend to blame God. So yes, there are things that we can't control that I say is all God, or is it? You know, we have a hand. Our lives are tied together from beginning to end. We're intertwined, you know, and He made it that way. Our decisions have consequences, not just for us, but those we connect ourselves to. So a lot of times, you know, I know at times I can say, you know, you feel bad that when you pull away and you go do something different, there are those that you're going to leave in the residue in the wake of your decisions to leave. And especially when you have to move on. But those are the things we have to do in order to create change in our lives and to increase our lives. And although sometimes people can be um, intertwined with us and then become dependent on us, or vice versa, we have to separate in order to grow, because sometimes that dependence can leave us in a place of laziness and unwillingness to grow and just kind of complacent. And God is always wanting something new for us. And so with that, we might have to suffer the consequences of separating from, we have not consequences, but we might have to deal with the reality of sometimes some things are not for us anymore, and we have to like move on. So, let me continue reading. Again, our decisions have consequences, not just for us, but those we connect ourselves to. Life is so intricate and more than flesh. It's definitely spiritual. It's trickled down from the head to the feet in a way. Like if you've ever heard in business, in your working environment, you know, a culture is created from the top. So things happen, although you see more of the things maybe at your level, you have to understand there's always a beginning part, and it usually is at a higher level, and it trickles on down. Same thing happens to us. The same process a lot of times happens to us, even in our family lives, because our patriarch, or the head, is our parents, right? And it trickles from there, but they had parents before them. So even in our bodies, it's how we think is how the rest of us go. So if I'm thinking I just want to sit at home and watch TV and do anything, well, guess what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to move, and I could end up being a couch potato. But if I have this inspiration or this desire to like step out of it and just kind of like and do something, whether or not it's exercise, start a be a part of a program. It starts in the mind. It starts in the mind, and a thought and a decision, and then our feet move. So it is from top to bottom, right? So from our head to our feet. We're all products of our parents, like I said. We were products of their parents, or better yet, their decisions, whether good or bad. We then are born into different battles, because we all have our own thing that we have to deal with. Every family, there's no perfect family. Even when you want to think there's a perfect family, just because it's not your family or it doesn't look like your family, then we tend to go with this family is better. But the reality is those in it may not feel the same way, because they have their own internal struggles. It may be and it's what somebody can handle. So for one, it might be the struggle, like, you might have an overbearing parent, in the sense of, oh, they want the absolute best for me, so they're constantly pushing me in this direction, but then it could be too much for that particular person. Whereas somebody else might say, I would have wanted that, and I really appreciate it. But sometimes we think it's the grass is greener on the other side, and we don't realize if we were put in that same place, we might not be able to, because it's just a structure that's there. Or you might be in a family in which they've taught you to be a thief or a liar, and it's like it comes natural, but to someone else, it'd be like, that's not cool. We just don't. It's so many big extremes, and at the end of the day, regardless of where we start out, we don't have to end there. So we can make decisions to shift and change our lives and break away from some ties that hold us back, whether spiritual or just normal, bad cycles. We can make a choice. It all comes from top to bottom, top, and moves the feet, right? So we have to look at our spiritual warfare and see God as our help guide to navigate to freedom from the bondage we are born in. We can be like Jesus, the way, the truth, and the light, when we become aware and accept the honor of being on the right side and doing things God's way. It's, when we hear that, we go, oh, especially if you don't know him and how awesome he is in our lives, and that he's only doing things to protect us, that he loves us and he wants the best for us. And even when it's like, oh, he's being such a parent that he's not letting me do certain things and I want to do, and you kind of got to ask yourself, what are these things that you want to do? Is it things because you see your friends doing it? And I have to go, just because it's just one of my, I have to ask the question, like, if your friends are doing it, does it make it right? If you see the world doing it, does it make it right? When do you step out and make a decision? It's okay to stand out. You don't have to follow the crowd, because it's in that uniqueness of who you are that you really get to see your purpose. But when you follow in between and you hide, we don't get to see you shine, and we don't get to see how awesome you are and the gifts you brought to this earth to bless someone else. And trust me, we all have blessings inside of us that bless other people. So when we say doing God's way, it's just saying there's certain things that he goes, no, that's not cool, and I don't think you should be a part of that, because I'm telling you, I know the end result of that. And so I know you really don't want people to look at you differently, but trust me, when they look at you differently, they're going to look towards you for answers when you step and be a step apart. So it's not bad when you trust him, you just walk. There's some things, even some days I'm like, I don't want to. Like, there might be, it's as simple as, girl, you don't need to eat that ice cream. I didn't need you to tell me that. I know that, but but he looks out for you from even in the simplest and the smallest things. We look at these big things like, hey, I can't go out to a party anymore. No, that doesn't necessarily mean that, but you then have to question whether or not, do you need to be in an environment that could make you make decisions that you don't want to? It's not necessarily about the party, but the environment you're in that could cause you to do things you might not have done if you weren't in there. Just think of it that way. And let's not just think God's some militant person that won't let you live life to the fullest. Because that's what he's all about, us living an abundant life. And so doing things God's way and not the way we have been programmed, because we've been programmed to believe that the majority is right, and that since everybody else is doing it, why not me? First of all, know where it all started. The majority ends up doing it. Think about this. The majority, so here's something new that comes about. And you're saying the majority does it, but do you realize that someone had to have started it? So it was that individual that was different, started something, and he was able to influence others to do the same thing. So now it looks like a group thing, but at the end of the day, it was that individual. So why not be that individual that sparks people to do some awesome things in a positive manner, not a negative one? So we don't have to follow in the footsteps of those before us if it is contrary to a full and abundant life. Like, let's not cut our life short. Let's not do that. We don't have to take on the predetermined decisions made by those before us. We can walk into our own. So mom and dad may have worked at the grocery store. You don't necessarily have to do that. Mom and dad may have owned one grocery store. You don't necessarily have to do that. You could decide to take it to another level and own multiple grocery stores. Mom and dad may have been a lawyer. You don't have to necessarily do that. You can go do something else. Now, they may have sparked your interest in law, and the fact that what they covered in law may have been entertainment law, for example, and you realize you want to be in the entertainment business. But guess what? You get to go into this new realm with another armor. I have backing of already a lawyer that is in this industry, and they've got my back. We have to turn things on its head and realize that we don't have to follow in this pattern, but these things around us add to us to make us be able to take on new things in a different way. So our experiences get to add to us, not take away from us, but it is not telling. Our experiences should not be our guide. Let God be our guide and be able to remind us of some experience that can help us along our journey. Does that make sense? So when we can make our own decisions. We don't have to follow everybody else's thought process. We have our own mind. He gave us a clear mind. Use it. And just, it's not about think out of the box. It's just think differently. Think in freedom. Think at a higher level with him. Tap into him. Pray and just be like, hey, what do you have for me? Stop and listen. And sometimes we have it right, but the more we tap in, the more we ask, the more it becomes clearer. His voice becomes clear and we get used to hearing it, right? So we can change our mind and change our walk. It's a decision that starts with you. So, how can we, you ask? By choosing God, and he will renew our minds. We can start right here with him and ask, what is your will for our lives? What is your will for my life? Ask that about yourself. And step into this new year. We're in January. I mean, I want to say you have time. It depends on how old you are. No, I'm just kidding. Step into January. Really take a reflection. You may see things that look like it's trying to repeat itself, but look at ways that you can go, no, it doesn't have to. I can tweak this one little thing and change the direction of everything, But just really put some thought into it and just grab hold of hope. Because if you can think of tomorrow and know and say, tomorrow would be a better day, that is a little glimmer of hope. And just expand on that, and walk and talk with God and come into partnership with him of what those days could look like. Because even no matter what we think those days would look like, he has a better picture of it. And a lot of times majority of the times he has a better plan than what we have. So even if we step in and say, think of, if you can do anything, what would you do? If money wasn't a concern, if your job wasn't a concern, if nothing was a concern, what exactly would you put on those things that you'd want to do? And then take the next plan of action. And that might be I'm just throw one out there. You want to travel to, what's a good, travel to South America and swim with the sharks. And It's something that you really want to say. That's something that you want to do, or swim with the fishes. Maybe not the sharks. I know everybody's not down with that, but like swim with the fishes, and see the coral reefs and all that stuff. And you want to go to the, one of the coral reefs that is number one and that is on the number one list in the United States or in the world, and you want to do that. Well, what does it look like for you to do that? I know all last year we talked about what does it look like for you to get things done. Never stop that. Never stop that thought process. Here's something I want to do. What is it? What do I need to figure that out? Well, first of all, find out where that place is. Get on the internet, ask somebody, go to the library, get a book, find out where that place is. And then what do I need to get there? Is it international? Do I need a passport? Well, if I need a passport, where do I get a passport? What do I need? Do I have to pay money? If I need to pay money, how much do I need? How much do I need to save for? Get that passport. Find a timeline. When do I need it by? Because I need to pay this and I might not have the money right now for it, but I'll have it within 2 months. Then when can I reasonably make plans to identify the day that I can go on this trip? Maybe it's next year. Okay, if it's next year, what does a hotel cost? What does airfare cost? What are travel restrictions? Because we have to think about these travel restrictions. How do I deal with it? And then don't let any of these restrictions hold you back. You just gotta work accordingly to it, right? What kind of weather will it be? What clothes do I need? What gear do I need? What lessons do I need to take? Because I don't want you jumping in the ocean. You're not a swimmer. You don't know how to scuba dive, because those are not things that you just get and jump in the ocean and do. You want to go do these things to prep yourself for it. The more you step into it, the more easier it would be. But if we just look at it like, oh, I want to go here and I just don't know how. If you stop yourself there, it won't happen. If you stop yourself, I can't. Don't use any of those words. Go, well, the question is, how do I make this happen? Please use those words at all times. How can I make this happen? How, God, can we make this happen? And then take whatever small steps that make you feel comfortable, that grow into bigger steps, and will turn around and won't believe that on this particular day you made plans and it finally happened, especially when you're already there. So you can have a wonderful year. So I say today, Happy New Year, as in this whole new year. Although it's new, we are in a continuous pattern of our lives where we grow older. So we should be growing wiser. But a happy new year of new changes and new expectations and new hope, which continues to grow and in you to make you move to new levels. So it's always a blessing to be on here and talk to you and encourage you and pray that you step into your newness. Please drop a comment, drop 100, drop some love. Love to hear from you. Blessings to you. Have a great one. Happy New Year.